Let's talk about a condition many people haven't heard of. And it turns out it's more common than you think. Peyronie's disease, or PD for short. PD can happen when scar tissue builds up under the skin of the penis. This can cause a curve with a bump during an erection, and for some men, lead to pain during intimacy and may impact mental health. It may also lead to anger and frustration, depression, lowered self-esteem, and even withdrawal from sexual activity and physical intimacy. Because of this, some men can feel embarrassed or reluctant to talk about PD. The actual cause of PD isn't always known. In some cases, it may be linked to a minor injury or repeated injuries during sex or other physical activity. The good news is, PD is treatable. If you notice a curve with a bump, a trusted urology specialist can help diagnose it and walk you through your options, including non-surgical treatment. To learn more about Peyronie's disease, visit talkaboutpd.com.
Ready to buy a car, a home, or just want to take control of your money? Your FICO score matters, and 90% of top lenders use it to make decisions. Check your FICO score for free today without hurting your credit score. Visit myfico.com/free or download the MyFICO app today. MyFICO gives you the score lenders use most, plus credit reports and real-time alerts to help keep you on top of your credit. Visit myfico.com/free and take the mystery out of your FICO score.
Keep your wellness routine going strong all summer. Kachava's new travel packs help you stick to your daily ritual even when you're on the go. Just one packet of Kachava's all-in-one nutrition shake provides complete nutrition wherever you are, with 25 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, greens, adaptogens, and more. Simplify your daily ritual. Go to kachava.com and use code SHAKE for 15% off. That's KACHAVA.com, code SHAKE.
Hello and welcome to the Irish NFL Show. My name is Shane Brennan and thank you very much for joining us. We hope everybody's enjoying all of the joys that June bring us, whether it's holidays abroad, World Cup fever, especially for our listeners in the United States, great scenes in the streets of New York and Boston over the weekend, among other places, or whether you're just trying to enjoy the sunshine. But it's important at times like this to sort of take a deep breath and be able to take a step out of the regular day-to-day, like in our case, the NFL. The couldn't trust the NFL season means that it's so high-paced that sometimes we don't take a step back to breathe and try to keep ourselves on the right mental track. So I'm delighted to help talk to us a little bit about the importance of mental health, why it's important to talk about it, and as well later on the importance of participation in sport for teenagers, which is in relation to how NFL flag is going to be expanding across Ireland and Irish schools. Lauren O'Neill, who's from A Gentle Way Forward. Lauren, good to talk to you.
Hello, how are you? Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you so much. For people who obviously are only tuning into us now, they have not seen the fact that we've spent the last few minutes trying to make sure that we get the Wi-Fi going, and now we're finally speaking on your phone, which is way better. It's incredible how modern technology works. The laptops are going to be so bad and phones so much better. You think it's the other way around?
I know, nightmare. I've already had this conversation, but we're going to do it again. It's going to be just as good.
Yeah, no. Did you think my first intro was better or my second intro was better? I have to go back in and try to dip into it. So Lauren, listen, thanks very much for taking the time out to speak to us. Your project and everything you're doing, A Gentle Way Forward, you've gotten great traction. Really interesting the way that you've decided. I guess the written down version, written down bio, is A Gentle Way Forward as a reflective and compassionate podcast exploring mental health through lived experience and personal stories. So I guess just talk us through why you set up the project, and I guess why you think it's important for people to talk about things like grief, trauma, and other mental health struggles that people might deal with in their day-to-day lives.
Yeah, so ultimately I created the podcast in January as a way to support others who are navigating grief, trauma, and their own mental health struggles. The podcast is inspired by my own journey through mental health difficulties, and then also I lost my mom when I was 7 to suicide. So I talk about bereavement by suicide and childhood trauma and loss, and I created this space kind of in her memory. So I tried to draw a little bit on my experience. I'm currently studying mental health nursing in Trinity College, so I try to kind of draw from that a little bit. Now there's no professional, it's not a replacement for professional support or anything like that, but it's just a space for like connection, reflection, encouragement, and shared experiences. I'm trying to have other people who have had similar difficulties maybe come on and chat and be able to like share those experiences and just talk about it, because we really need to start talking more.
I think that's a very good. So before we go on, that's a very good thing to reflect on, or to double down the fact that what you're doing is not a replacement for professional support, and it's important for anybody who either feels that they or somebody that they love or close to them is experiencing something really difficult. That professional support is something that you should always seek.
Yeah,
It's good to say that. But in terms of what you're saying, I mean, we're both sitting here. We're both in our twenties. I'm on the later end of my twenties. In fairness, um, our generation, I think the people assume or suggest that we're getting better at talking about things, but people still keep things inside, don't want to talk about it. Whether it's something really big like what you went through, when you were growing up, and how that probably still affects you so many years on, or even much smaller things, or relationship based issues which affect so much of us as well. So like, talk to us. Obviously, this is something you're studying as well. As like the difference in talking, and that sort of shared experience when you are going through something, and the realization that for a lot of things that people go through, like they're not the only person who've gone through things like this, and it's
there's
important for
still
them to know that.
there's still such a big stigma around speaking out and specifically about mental health. And I come across people in when I'm working that have kind of let things get so bad that they end up in kind of long-term care or treatment facilities. And a lot of the time when I'm chatting with them and I'm saying like, you didn't tell anyone, like, and it got this far, and they're a lot of it is, oh, I was too embarrassed, or I didn't want to be a burden. And I've said this so many times. If you broke your leg, you'd go to the hospital and get help, or if you have a headache, you take a paracetamol. So, do you know what I mean? Like, it's the same with mental health. If you're No, not the same. You don't take a paracetamol, but if you're
No, it's the same concept. Like everybody has a
yeah,
dentist, everybody has a dermatologist, but we don't necessarily think about these things when it comes to our own mental health.
yeah, 100%. And I think self stigmatization is very common in this day and age as well. And like specific, I know I do it myself. Do you know that way? So like you kind of just, I feel like we're wired to just go, oh, just get on with it. Do you know that way? Whereas I think it's important to kind of take that time and just kind of have a bit of a outer body experience and just be like, whoa, I need to take a step back. I need to take a minute, because burnout, all this stuff is so popular these days. And you can't fill anyone else's cup when yours is empty. I like to always say that, because like, how are you going to help others, or how are you going to do your job, be a good sister, brother, mom, dad, whatever, grandparent, when you're not the best version of yourself?
I think it's a very interesting one. I guess just to in your experience, or based on the way you see things as well, do you think that there's a difference in the way that men and women self stigmatize? Because I'm saying that, and like I'm a man, and I've seen how my mates, it's almost natural for men, even when we're teenagers and growing up, to sort of put up walls, and some of
100.
them might feel necessary, but some of them are unnecessary. And it's
Mm,
almost like as a friend group, we've been trying to almost go through and try to break down these walls and say it's okay to if you're frustrated with whatever, like your financial struggles, or
yeah,
whatever's going on, and even small things, like me and my friends who I grew up with now, even because we've now started this thing. We start giving each other a quick hug when we say hello to each other, as opposed to just well, how are things? You know what
yeah,
I mean? And it does help us feel more comfortable around each other. But I know
completely.
there's a lot of men who don't feel like that, and obviously women deal with things differently. Do you find that in your experience, or is there more? Is there, maybe there is more in common, more wall building between the two than we thought?
Definitely, I think so. June is actually Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, so
I was not aware of that. There you go. See,
June
I
is
did not know that.
June is specifically Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, because there is a higher prevalence of suicide rates in men than there is in women, and a higher prevalence of mental health struggles in men than there is in women. And it's more reported by women than it is by men. And I think that comes from the old kind of thought process thought process of, like, men are meant to be big and strong, and men don't cry and boys don't cry. And it's a load of crap. Like, I hate it. Like, why just because you're a man you can't cry, you can't talk about your struggle? No, absolutely not. Like, we're all the same, we're all humans, we all deserve help, and if you need it, reach out and get it, you know
Yeah, it is very difficult, and it's something that probably can't be repeated enough. That it's You know,
Don't get me
you know,
wrong, it's definitely easier said than done, and I don't mean to sound
mm.
like flamboyant and just going just go get help because that's so much easier said than done.
No, no,
It
I don't. But like, it is something that needs to be repeated, and people realize. I mean, what you were saying there earlier about the way the people just are, button up and get on with it.
yeah,
Um, and that works up to a point, but there's a lot of people who just can't do that, and they still try to do it, and it doesn't work.
exactly.
For whatever it is they're going through. So no, I think it's a valid point, and like it's something in. I always wonder whether there's something in the Irish psyche as well that just makes us kind of more like, would you, it'll be
Oh,
grand, like it'll be
definitely.
grand. I'm great for the it'll be grand, right? And my car has been through so many things which have gone wrong because I didn't fix them early enough.
Grand.
It'll be grand, right? I don't even
That's
imagine, like, but I
so
feel like there's a lot of that going around as well.
but then your car it's the same, it's a good metaphor, your car breaks down in the middle of the road and it stopped working and it won't work anymore and you can't fix it. You know that way? So it's about getting those little things for your car done when they happen rather than letting this whole big thing build up and then all of a sudden, you know, it's a lot harder to fix.
How do you find you say you're so what is it? Remind me exactly what it is you're studying in Trinity College.
Psychiatric nursing.
Psychiatric nursing. Okay, so is that do you find that a difficult thing to study in terms of I'm just interested in your own experience because I think some people when they think of mental health, all these kind of things, they say, well, it's not for a young person to go into to try and learn how to do things. But you've done that. You're 21 years old. You're in that. You're doing long placements. How do you find the experience of trying to learn up and become better at that profession?
I love it. It's the only so I am affiliated with a hospital in Dublin, so it's quite far away from where I live. So I get up at 4:30 in the morning when I have a shift there. So I start at 7:30, I start at 7:30 a.m. and finish at 8:30 p.m. So I'm up at 4:30, get the bus at 5:30 into
Oh,
town.
Jesus.
But like it's the only career, it's the only job that would make me get up that early because I love my sleep. But no, it's great. At the start, it was quite hard because I found myself reflecting on my life a lot, learning about specific. I have depression or anxiety myself, so when I was learning kind of about that stuff, and I was kind of going, "Oh my god, like that's me," when I was learning about some of the stuff. So some of it was quite hard, but it's also very healing and just nice to be able to kind of understand why and get more into the roots of these things. Um, it's a very hard job. Sometimes I come home and I will just need to have a little cry for half an hour. Some days I come home and I'll be like, "Oh my god, let's go do something!" No, and I have so much energy that my family are like, "You just did a 30-hour shift. Like, what is wrong with you?" But I do be so wired that I'm like, "Ah." um, but no, it's great. It's really great. Every day is different, and I really am grateful for the opportunity to get to help people when they're in their lowest times. And I suppose I always say that mental health, as a mental health nurse or a psychiatric nurse, I'm holding hope for those who don't have it for themselves at the minute. Just like holding it for them while they're getting better. So it's really like
Wow.
mine their hope for them, and I'll give it back to them when they have it. You know.
Wow, that's such a great psychological way to a philosophical way to look at it. I have to say, like, and this is something I've said privately, but I don't think I've said publicly. Like anybody who works in any form of healthcare services, whether it's mental or people in ambulance, I feel like they are the backbone of society. I couldn't do it. I just I could not do it. I mean, like I work in a toy house. Really, I'm a sports journalist. I get to sit around and talk about things which are supposedly the end of the world, which in Liverpool mightn't qualify for the Champions League. You know what I mean? And the things that you're doing, but it's great to see you obviously have a passion for it and everything else. So listen, look, best of luck with your project and with your career and look, I hope it's quite clear that you have plenty of knowledge and everything in it. Let's talk about how this relates to the NFL and sport in general, because one of the things that our listeners may be aware of is that the NFL are expanding flag football, which is a nice, easier, long contact way of playing football to schools in Ireland. Every secondary school in Ireland has been given a pack to play flag football. And one of the big things that flag football is trying to do, particularly in the United States, but also where it's expanding to the UK and Ireland, is trying to increase participation of the sport, but also make sure that girls and teenage girls, and teenagers in general, but I think it is more disproportionately effective with girls, don't drop out of playing sport in your teenage years. So let's talk a little bit about the importance of participation in sport when you're a teenager and why that drop off happens. Because I
Yeah,
think it is an underestimated aspect of growing up how good and healthy participation in sport is. You don't have to be trying to be David Beckham or Hannah Tyrrell or anybody else. You know what I mean? Whoever your hero is, just
yeah,
participating, day to day is so good for your health.
yeah. I can speak from first-hand experience. I played Gaelic all my life, and then up in probably fourth or fifth year, I quit, and definitely saw the impact on my mental health, like 100%. And I think it's so important to just get out for that vent, that like way of just getting things out. I think it provides a healthy outlet for emotions. So giving teens a way to like release that frustration, anger, and the stress, in a positive way rather than a negative way. It reduces stress and anxiety. Physical activity helps release tension and can make it easier to cope with pressure from school and friendships and daily life. So it increases chemicals like endorphins and serotonin in our brain, and once they're released, it's the happy hormone. So it does work. It is real. It improves your mood again, so that the feel good chemicals in the brain come out, and it helps teens feel happier, more positive, all that kind of stuff. Building confidence and self esteem as well. Developing skills, achieving goals, and seeing your progress can improve like how people feel about themselves. So, you start off at a sport and you're not so good. You're going, you're training, you're playing matches, and you see the improvement in yourself, and you're going, God, I'm sticking at this, and I'm getting good at it. And everyone feels good about that. Um, I think
Yeah,
it.
I think that just to expand on that point for a second, is I coached soccer, I'd say for about 10 years, underage soccer, and that's at a teenage level, and it's important. Like when people come in and and again, it's teenage boys. There's always the one fella who's taller than everybody else, more athletic than everybody else, and he tries to push himself around. It's important then to try and build the confidence of everybody else. But as well as that, I mean, like when you see progress happening on the sports field or anywhere else, like to not be afraid to acknowledge it and say, you've come on really well in the last month. It's just the positive boon that has,
Mhm.
and like I've seen it when I'm coaching, but I can imagine as well, like just to you know from your expertise, the effect that it has must be it's a pretty nice way to try and I guess build people's confidence, build people up, because that's what sport is best at. If we do it right, it's building people up.
100%. It's all about connection, teamwork, and building each other up as well as ourselves. I think like that social support is super important as well, and like being a part of a team is another thing that's like great for teens in sport. It's given the teenagers or anyone, children, teens, adults, a way to release frustration, anger, and reduce feelings of loneliness, and help build like strong friendships as well. Like many of my friends now, and I don't play Gaelic anymore, but I made those friends through Gaelic. Um, I've never played NFL or anything, so I can't relate to that. But
Well, it
I
wasn't. See, it wasn't an option for us
no,
when we were in secondary school.
I
It is now for the current generation. So maybe this is the thing to keep
it's like
people involved.
absolutely, and I would have loved to have the opportunity. I was doing a bit of research before, and I was like, oh, that's actually really cool. My dad is super interested in an NFL, so yeah, I would have liked a chance, but I'm glad that people are getting a chance now.
I just want to just go back. I'm interested in your own experience. You were saying that around transition year, fifth year. So that's that 15, 16-year-old mark. There's a lot of drop off. That's the kind of thing I've worked on as well. That seems to be the drop off point for a lot of people when it comes to participation in sport.
Yeah.
What was your own reasons why you felt this isn't for me anymore when you were at that age? What kind of pushed you away from it?
There was a few reasons. So obviously there was COVID. So we'd stopped
How could I forget? Okay, that's yeah. Okay, that's fair.
and I think I kind of lost the fitness and the kind of passion for it. So when we went back, a lot of my friends are still up and fit, and I had kind of lost that, so my confidence plummeted a lot. I also think it's important to mention the how busy teenagers are in those in the fifth and sixth year of school. Like you're trying to balance your day to day life, your school life, studying, homework, sports, like, and unfortunately something does end up having to give. And for me that just ended up being sports. And it's a huge regret of mine because
I I'm not. I'm so glad you mentioned that. Because it's one of the big bugbears of mine. When I was that age, but also when I was coaching and I was coaching people who are in that sort of junior to leaving sort of year, is the fact that they were given these piles and piles of homework, and they said, "Sorry, I'm not coming to training." Like we train once a week for an hour and a half. I'm not coming to training on Tuesday because I've got so much homework to go through. I'm like that's not. I don't think that's the right. I understand you have to work hard to study, you have to get your leaving cert points and all that kind of thing. But like, I don't think there was enough in the curriculum, and maybe it's changed now. But I don't. I think it is important to understand the need for that balance. You know what
one
you're saying is how busy people's lives are.
I think like in schools and secondary schools, I went to a super strict all girls Catholic school. It was very
Oh
run.
God, I can. So I can imagine. I can already picture it in my head, almost Simpsons like with the nuns going around.
But like the work was packed onto us, and they're like, I remember my year head one time saying to my parents when I had a parent teacher meeting, like how much is Lauren studying? And my parents like, oh, she's doing an hour every evening. She's like, she should be doing 3 hours every evening. And so then when they heard that, they were like, you need to do 3 hours every evening. And I was like, and it's so overwhelming. You're in school from 9 to 4 every day. So you're doing, what is that, like nearly 8 hours of school every day, coming home, having dinner, and going straight back into it. And your brain is exhausted. The last thing you want to do is go run around the field. Do you know that way? So it's such a hard balance to find, but I think it's probably a bit out there, but schools just need to kind of dial it back a little bit maybe. But
Well, yeah, no, I think it should be at least part of the conversation as to how the balance is struck, and like neither of us here are educational experts, but it is I do have some experience in this as I used to do some youth work as well. As where when we were, it was a consistent issue
mm,
with people here. It's an issue in the UK and the US as well. Even speaking to friends of mine who have gone into sort of full-time education, they're saying it's trying to strike the balance, but then from a teacher's point of view, they have such a massive curriculum to
it
try and drive through. Like the junior cert is crazy. You guys, you've got like I remember the leaving cert for me wasn't so bad because we had 7 subjects, but I didn't really care enough about Irish. Tobránarum for any Gaelgoers who were listening. So I kind of I did ordinary level of that and kind of stacked it off and didn't give it my full effort. So I only really had 6 subjects to follow up on. But the junior cert, you have 12. You know what I mean? Coming in there, it's a crazy year. And like
but
I have a lot of friends who have decided I'm not doing PE in third year and sixth year. And the effect I think it had on them in terms of they let the pressure build so much on themselves because spend so much time with their head in the books. It's nuts.
absolutely. My younger brother is doing the junior cert and at the minute, and I feel for him. I'm like, Janie, like I wouldn't go back and do the leaving cert if you. No, I didn't do a junior cert because I was in COVID, but I wouldn't go back and do the leaving cert if you paid me 5 million euro. Like I couldn't. Like,
Is
firstly,
it is there a number like 12 million? Is that like is that the thing? 5 million I feel like is I do it for 5 million.
what?
Or well, see, I suppose I didn't mind the leaving cert so much. I found the junior cert like stupidly stressful because there was so much on. I couldn't like
Every year since the junior or the leaving junior and leaving always starts around the start of June, and it's been 3 years since I did mine, and every year I've been like, I still get nightmares and the sweats. Like it's so hard. Like it's such a wrong system, and I we could talk about that all day. Don't let me go down a rabbit hole, but yeah, no, I feel for people doing the hard exams, and they are like one of the most important exams of your life, do you know that way? So that's a lot of pressure for someone that's 17, 18. Like, do you know that way?
mm,
So
yeah.
or that.
Yeah, but sorry, I think we're like we've gone down the road of two people being like school, that was terrible. But I
Yeah.
think the important thing we're trying to get is that trying to keep sport in the rhythm because the big thing that I've been trying to I've tried to tell people, like I've friends, whose younger siblings are going through, and the same with my brother as well. I'm like, don't use your PE if you only get one PE hour and 20 minutes in a week. Don't use that just to do homework so you can do less homework, and like go out, pick up a basketball, do whatever it is teachers doing, because that it genuinely makes such a big difference. Even that's just that small thing. And I can imagine things like flag football, any other curriculum that are happening in sport. It does make a difference. I think that's what we're trying to impress upon people, that if you're a parent out there, or I don't think too many teenagers listen to us, but if you are out there, it's important to keep that rhythm up when you're going through. What we're saying is, especially that third and sixth year period, and fifth year as well to an extent, what can be very busy periods of your teenage life.
Yeah, absolutely. I think sport teaches a lot of coping skills as well. That like you kind of neglect to remember. Like you're dealing with wins, losses, mistakes, challenges, and like these challenges are helping teens become more resilient, whether that's in their schoolwork, life struggles, so on. So it's not just about getting out and kicking a football. There is a lot of things in the background that like we don't necessarily think of, and I think people do forget the importance and the background information on why we play sport. It's not just about keeping fit, it's about keeping your mind fit as well, and all these different reasons that we just mentioned.
Yeah, it's not always about trying to be David Beckham, or even trying to make county. You know what I mean? It's important for yourself as well. It should always be priority number one.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Lauren, listen, thanks very much for taking the time. I feel better now. I feel like I've gotten a lot of like my leaving cert and junior cert like stress off my chest. It's nearly 10 years I did my leaving, and I'm still bang on about it. It's crazy. I
'Cause and I like, if you ask anyone in now's day and age, would you go back and do the leaves? Are absolutely. Like, no
yeah.
one's going, yes, let's go do the
See,
leaves.
the big eye opener for me is how much better college was, because again, and I'm like, we're very fortunate in this generation that college is so much more accessible to me than it was to my parents, for instance. But when I got into college, I studied in DCU. I'm like, this is great. Like, we're studying what we want to study. We're surrounded by people who are like minded. We're not wearing these stupid jumpers. You know, you know.
Sixth year, because the subjects I was doing, I hated. I did German and I was so bad at it, and I just didn't want. And then when I got into mental health nursing, I was like eager to, like, I hated going to school. Now all of a sudden I was like, yeah, you can't wait to go to college and learn about this stuff that I actually am interested in. So yeah, I get that.
Yeah. College is a great time. If you're in doing something you want to do, in my case journalism, in your case, what you're doing in Trinity, it is brilliant,
Like-minded people as well, and everyone's there because they want to be there, not because they're forced to be there. Do you know that way?
Yeah, I know. Well, look, listen, we do have a good education. I don't want to feel like I'm knocking the educational system in the country too much. Just trying to make sure that people sort of balance things out to sort of de-stress themselves, and the importance of school. But listen, look, Lauren, thanks very much for talking. I feel better now after that one. I feel like, and now I know that June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. So yeah. I'll be sure to check in on my bros. But for people who are interested in learning more about what you do and seeing your project, where can people go to find you?
So I have an Instagram and a TikTok, and they're both just at A Gentle Way Forward. And then if you want to get in contact with me, you can message me through either of them, or I have a Gmail account at agentlewayforward@gmail.com. If you want to listen to the podcast, it's available on Spotify. So again, just type in the bar at A Gentle Way Forward and it should come up.
Well, the good news for our listeners, we don't put up enough content at the moment to fill up everybody's day. So they have space for other podcasts other than us. There's people can have space in their lives for more than just one show, and I'm sure they can they can find space for yours.
I think I have about 6 or 7 podcasts on my roster right now. So
okay, I don't know ask what they are, but it's always good to have a little roster. It's like you need to know, this is my Monday morning commute, this is my Thursday morning commute, all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Lauren, listen, thanks very much for taking the time out to join the Irish NFL Show.
Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
You're confused about your credit score. One site has one number and another site something completely...
What? That can't be right.
It's okay. Forget everything except MyFICO. These free scores from other apps can differ by as much as 100 points from your FICO score that 90% of top lenders actually use when you apply for a credit card, personal loan, car loan, or mortgage. For the moments that matter, get the score that matters, your FICO score. Visit myfico.com and get started for free today.
Keep your wellness routine going strong all summer. Kachava's new travel packs help you stick to your daily ritual even when you're on the go. Just one packet of Kachava's all-in-one nutrition shake provides complete nutrition wherever you are, with 25 grams of protein, 6 grams of fiber, greens, adaptogens, and more. Simplify your daily ritual. Go to Kachava.com and use code SHAKE for 15% off. That's KACHAVA.com, code SHAKE.